Choose close. I think we're live.
Yes, because you're in color now.
Okay, I'm having trouble getting rid of this thing.
Okay. What thing?
I don't know, whatever this has popped up. I'm just gonna sit down.
Yeah.
It's like some filter thing, but I can't get it off.
Hi. We're doing great. We're doing great.
I still don't know how to go live on YouTube. Like,
Okay.
I don't understand it.
So, this is Jenna with Conspiracies Unlocked.
And I'm Heather, who's technically challenged.
And I am of no use to her either. So, here we are.
Hello, world.
We are reviewing Britney Spears, The Woman in Me, Chapter 10, pages 57 through 62. Quick recap. Her chapters are short and jumps around a lot. So, this chapter started off with talking about Justin Timberlake. So I'm like, here comes the juicy stuff.
Yes.
So they stayed in touch after Mickey Mouse Club, and then they reconnected on NSYNC's tour when she was opening for them.
That must have been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Especially because they were on the Mickey Mouse Club together, and it's like they get to reunite.
Yeah.
And spend all that time together.
And let's not forget that they were hanging out before and after the tours and the shows, and she fell head over heels in love with Justin.
Aww.
Britt said that it was pathetic, but even Justin's mom said that they were like magnets. Anytime that they were together, they were like together. And then she goes on to say it was weird, to be honest, how in love we were. Which is, like, weird because it was almost like she's putting herself down first, like, being like, I was pathetic. But then, at the same time, she's like, but we both were.
It seemed to me that, like, she was head over heels, like, with him and just, like, not threw herself on him, but just into him. And then, like, he, like, fell for her because she was so in love with him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, she said that they used to refer to NSYNC as, quote-unquote, so pimp, that was a word then.
They were
No, I loved NSYNC. I never, so pimp, like.
But remember back then, they used to have, like, pimp and hoe parties, and a pimp was kind of, like,
yeah, I know, pimp my ride. It was, like, so rad, so cool, so whatever. But I just never heard NSYNC being referred to as so pimp.
I never have either. Yeah,
good.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then she goes on to say that they were white boys who loved hip hop. What? Were we listening to the same band? Like, and that they were just like so different than Backstreet Boys, who was like a pop band.
But she said, like, Backstreet Boys was very much a white group.
I'm just confused. I don't think that we were watching the same.
I mean, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were essentially, like, the same.
If you play both of them, my husband would never be able to tell you which is which. Or even that they were two different groups. He would just assume that I'm playing the same group over again.
And it's like
a different song.
If you liked NSYNC, you probably liked Backstreet Boys and vice versa. Like, it wasn't like...
I mean, you liked one more than the other because
you
had to choose one, but
yeah, I mean,
it wasn't.
It's the same music. It's like
R&B. It's poppy, like boy group, like LFO and Five, like 98 degrees. Five was more like hip hop than fucking NSYNC.
I know.
Remember that song, When the Lights Go Out?
Mm-hmm.
Da, da, da. Yeah, that was more like.
I think it's because of the way that Justin talked. He kind of talked like Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Like the faux shizzle and all that.
Yeah.
Like faux shiz.
For sure. Yeah, whatever. Like, and then the curly hair. Maybe he's trying to get his, like...
I don't know.
Jufro
on. he was trying to just, like, fit in, maybe, I guess.
I don't know, because...
With the, like, New York scene, because she talked about him acting like that in New York.
When he saw Genuine. And then he got his, like, big T, like, bedazzled chain.
Oh, big old chain.
Yeah, so.
But it was funny that Felicia was, like, mocking him.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, he could care less. He was just like, fuck it. Like, fuck her. Like, whatever.
And then Britney's like, they, NSYNC hung around black groups. And she's all, I think they tried too hard sometimes.
Yeah, like, they were just trying to fit in way too much. Probably to the point where it was, like, cringe.
Embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
So then she switches to how the press, is just, like, was asking her and Justin very different questions. And they would ask her about her fake boobs all the time. But not her fake boobs, but, like, asking, are your boobs fake? Are your boobs fake? Mm-hmm. Which is, like, so cool. Like, what are you doing? This girl is only, what, like, 16 at the time?
I think
17,
she might 18? Have been about 17 at the time.
But still, who does that? It's
I don't
so
know.
weird.
But they did talk a lot about her body in general, about, like, what she was wearing, what she, you know, what they thought that she should be doing or not doing, and they sexualized her a lot, obviously. Yeah,
definitely did. She went to, like, a lot of award shows. She was talking about that those were, like, her favorite. She met, like, a lot of famous people, got the perfect picture with Mariah Carey, who was like, turn this way, this is my best sign. I could just imagine.
I know, what a diva.
Oh,
I wrote
God,
that down,
she's
too.
Such a diva. I could, like, whenever, like, I could imagine how. I was surprised that she even got a picture. I was expecting her to be like, no, little girl, bye. Like.
But I've heard that before about Mariah Carey, where she only wants to be pictured on one side. I don't remember what side it is.
Yeah.
And that's the good side. And we all have a good side. And, I mean, I can understand that. But the way that she directed Britney, like, Britney just wanted to take it right there. And she's like, no, honey, honey. This is my light. We're going to go right here.
Come inside. We'll do this the right way, not this shoddy way.
But Britney did say the photo was amazing.
She got the perfect photo.
Yeah.
They went to, by the time the 2000 VMAs came out, so she was 19 years old, she was being considered the princess of pop. Mm-hmm. And MTV had Britney watching strangers react to her VMA performance. Mm-hmm. And some would say, oh, she did really good. But then others would say that she was dressing too sexy and setting a bad example for kids. They wanted to see, like, that MTV just wanted to see her reaction and what she would say and do and how she would, like, react to the criticism that she was, you know, this is the first time that she's ever dealt with real criticism.
It was almost like they were baiting her and setting her up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so her comment that she finally made was, some of them were very sweet, but I'm not the children's parents. I just got to be me. I know there are going to be people out there. I know not everyone's going to like me. I'm like, good job, because you know what? You're not their parents. You're a fucking performer. Mm-hmm. Perform. If the parents, like, I wasn't allowed to watch MTV until I was, like, 15. Because my mom didn't even
have MTV when I was
My mom didn't even want me to, like, watch that shit, you know?
But the other thing, too, it's like, you know, they're so on Britney, but there are so many other artists that were
Christina,
dressing just as provocative.
Mariah, Madonna. Prerogatively.
I know. I was thinking of, then I started thinking of her song.
I was too. So that was, like, she said that was, like, the first backlash that she had, and it would just continue forever, and people would say that she's not being authentic, when it's like, you're mad at her for being authentic, and then you're gonna turn around and be mad at her for not being authentic.
And I think, yeah, exactly, and I think that's what hurt her the most, was people basically saying she's, like, phony fake.
Yeah, when you're just mad at her before for being that way.
It's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's, you know, just leave her alone.
Yeah. And then she started to notice that, oh my God, older men were starting to show up at her concerts. I'm like, ew. Like, can you imagine, not even just because of that, but to goggle her. But there are little girls who are like 13, 14, or 12, 11 in the audience as well.
Yeah.
And there's these, like, old men, like, oh my God, ew. Like, if they're going to go and watch Britney, what's to stop them from looking at the little 14, 15, 16-year-old girls that are dressed just the same way, all provocatively, because you're going to a concert for fun?
Yeah.
So gross.
It was giving her the Lolita vibes.
I never watched that movie, so I don't know what that is.
Lolita is, I think, was a book first.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Didn't read the book either.
And basically it is about a man who falls in love with like a teenager.
Oh.
And I believe they get married at some point.
Really?
Or I don't know if it's a legal marriage, but it's very backwards and it's very creepy. But one thing I wanted to just kind of circle back real quick and just mention that when she did meet with Mariah and she got that photo, like you said, like it, you know, the way the photo took place, not only was that the night that she met Mariah and got her photo with Mariah, like how exciting, even though she is a famous singer performer anyway, you meet people that you idolize, you're like, oh my god, she's still like, oh, it's Mariah Carey, you know, excited. Well, that same night she had won an award, and she to this day can't even remember what the award was, and but she said that it was more exciting to get that photo with Mariah than even the award. So I thought it was kind of cute that she was kind of fangirling a little bit over Mariah Carey.
Yeah, definitely.
It just kind of brings that human aspect to her.
Of her being authentic, you mean?
Exactly.
Being real.
Yes.
So, with all this like weird shit going on, the ways that she coped, she started to read religious books, which, okay, and taking Prozac. I thought it was so funny how she's like, so I started to cope with all this negative attention by reading religious books and taking Prozac.
Yeah, so
it was just so like up and like just like, woo, okay, we're on Prozac now.
The book that she read was Conversations with God, which was a series written by Neil Donald Walsh. If you're interested.
So she was reading that and taking Prozac.
Yeah, so
it was just so funny. You like think that it's gonna be like this heartful like religion and God and Prozac.
But she never goes into why she was taking Prozac or what if there was any diagnosis, because they don't just give you Prozac. So it's like her kind of touching on the tip of her mental illness. Yeah. Or probably a mental illness. No shade on mental illness, but like, but she doesn't really get into it. It's like, I thought the book was going to be more her.
She probably will later, like, maybe.
She's just barely like touching on dates and times and chronological, but she doesn't really get into stuff.
Well, I'm wondering because she's famous, if they're just like, here, you're sad, take Prozac, it'll help you, because Prozac elevates your dopamine levels and serotonin and all that. So if those levels are high, then you get more energy and you're happy and everything. So Prozac is like the easiest fucking especially then, the easiest like antidepressant mood stabilizer to get.
Just to keep her going and motivated.
Yeah.
If she's getting depressed.
A low dose, it wouldn't even. Like, you could take a low dose, and I don't think that it would just make you more happy all the time, or more, like, it would just elevate your levels.
Okay, so maybe she didn't even have a true diagnosis at that time.
And especially at that time, because, like, she's so young still, they don't like to diagnose, like, young people. Like, back then, I know that, because I was younger.
I just thought it was odd, because I'm like, okay, so she's on Prozac. Okay, cool, whatever. But then, like, she doesn't go into it. And it's not like she owes it to us to tell us.
No.
But
I think she will later, though.
I just thought that the book was going to have more detail.
Yeah.
It's very generalized. It doesn't have a lot of detail so far, in my opinion.
So, yeah, no, it doesn't. It's very surface. It's not in depth. So she says that Oops, I Did It Again made Britney a household name, but the tour gave her parents a new house and a clean slate. She was able to pay even off. She bought her mom a house, and her dad paid off all of his gambling debt, and pretty much just a clean slate of living. And how does he repay her? Well, we'll find out eventually, I guess. But as far as like tabloids and stuff, we already can't wait to get to that part. And that's the end of chapter 10.
Yes.
So join us and we will move on to chapter 11.
But before we move on,
okay.
I want to leave us with this Dolly Parton quote.
Oh, yes. I was going to write down the Dolly Parton quote.
I just wanted to say
she has it in her book.
She calls it a Dolly Parton joke, but I feel like it's just like kind of a quote. So Dolly Parton was quoted in Britney's book saying, "I'm not offended by all the dumb blonde jokes because I know I'm not dumb. And also I know I'm not blonde. My real hair is black."
Yeah. No, Dolly Parton's hilarious.
So
and at Dollywood, she has all those quotes up in the hotel of Dollywood and like all over the park, like those like sarcastic jokes. I have a magnet that says, "It costs a lot of money to look this trashy," or something like that. It's on my fridge. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, I think that was pretty cool because the fact that they were so on Britney about what she wore and stuff and how she looked, it was just like her little haha.
Escape. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Quote.
Dolly can say it, so can I.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
okay,
we're going to
turn this off and move
sign
on
off.
to chapter 11. So, join us again. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. On the bottom. See, I don't know where it is.